Hello, and welcome to an exceedingly patient episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel, your weight loss enthusiast.
Yeah.
And with me today is...
Donald Weigel.
Hello!
Your other weight loss enthusiast.
We're enthusiastic.
I prefer to think of myself as an internet tastemaker these days. But
You know, you are what you say you are.
Yeah.
So you say you're a tastemaker, you're making tastes.
yes, I have up to and including several followers on the internet.
Yeah.
Several
Several of many. So hi, and welcome, and... this is going to be a patient episode. Be patient
Yes.
with us and with you.
And we'll be patient with you.
Patient with you.
Patient with you.
Speaking of that sound, we are going to save the tip and product of the week for the end of the episode.
Oh,
but it has something
so
to
you
do.
got to listen all the way through.
It has something to do with carrots.
It does.
It does, but that's all you're going to have to find out at the end. Like
Yeah.
when you listen to the news at 11 and they're like, you know, could your pens be killing you
Yeah.
right now? Like,
Right.
find out at 11. And then you
Exactly.
have to listen until 11:29, and then they say,
Nope, they're
it won't,
fine.
It won't kill you.
Yeah, your pens are good.
Bye. See you
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Have a good night.
And you fall for it every time. So you're going to fall for this carrot. And it's,
Wow.
it's not...
We're telling people
Could
they're
carrots
falling
be
for it.
killing you? Find out
Find
at
out
the
at
end
the
of
end of
this
this podcast.
enthusiastic and patient episode of We Only Look
No skipping ahead.
No skipping. Bloop, 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 bloop. Do you know if you slow down a podcast? Like some people are like, oh, I listen at time and a half.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're on crack.
Yeah.
And not that I've done crack. Don't do crack, everybody.
Don't do crack. That's
if you-
the tip of the week.
Tip of the week
to you.
Oh, it's a carrot. The opposite is if you want to hear what we might sound like drunk, like really drunk, play us at half speed.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
No.
No, I accidentally listened to us at half speed, and it sounded like this.
Wow. Now, if someone plays that at half speed,
Oh.
is that like a quarter speed?
You know what? Listen, you tell us what we sound like. But yeah, it does not sound good. Listen at normal speed.
Tip of the week to you. Listen at normal speed.
Oh my gosh. We are, when you think this podcast is coming to an end, it's not coming to an end.
No.
No, it never stops. Why don't you ask me how I've been doing?
How have you been doing, darling?
This is surprising. And
The question is surprising.
it is surprising.
I'm putting you on the spot.
You are. So what month is this?
This is March.
It's going to be like March,
Well,
April.
it'll be April when this airs, when we publish this.
But it's been a tough beginning of the year for me. We went, as you know, on holiday, and we posted an episode about Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Where we said, just get back on track.
Right.
Just get back on track.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. It's not the vacation. It's what you do
just get
after.
back on track.
It's March, and I'm still trying to get back on track.
Yeah.
And I put on a little bit of weight, a few pounds. I changed the battery in our scale.
Yeah. It's throwing me off.
So I'm pretty sure that the only reason I'm up on the scale and my pants are tight is because
The new
of
battery.
The new battery did it.
The new battery did
The
it,
new
for
battery,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
We also put a new battery in our kitchen scale for weighing food. Am I negotiating the weight of the amount of half and half I'm using or the peanut butter I'm using? No. No, I don't move it around to find like the perfect weight
No.
on the floor and like, weigh it at the same time of day. But I'm up on the scale a little bit, and I've been working through that. And I am hoping that you knowing that I'm struggling will remind you that there is no finish line.
Yeah.
And see, I'm circling it back to the
patience
topic.
pays off. Finally, we're
Patient.
getting to the topic, which
Patience.
is it's basically the idea of getting it over with quickly.
There is no getting anything over.
Yeah.
Like, I am up on the scale, and it's upsetting. Like, I want to be motivating and inspiring, and I hate that I fall back into my old patterns, my old comfortable patterns. But I've been listening to a lot of inspiring podcasts, reading some books, and getting my head back on straight. And just because I'm up on the scale doesn't mean that it's over for me. There's no quitting. Like,
Well, and more importantly, just because you lost 150 pounds doesn't mean it's over. For
No.
you. No.
And-
it never ends.
I actually looked, I found an old picture of us from 2003 or something like that. And I was maybe at my heaviest at the time. Fewer wrinkles, but what are you going to do? And looking back at the person that I was in that picture and knowing that I was like, all you can eat, sit around all day, drive everywhere. Like, I don't want to go back to that.
No.
I don't want to go back to my old self. And I've been overindulging a little bit recently. I've been, using the Gretchen Rubin loophole of like, it's just one, and falling into those old traps. And we talk about paying attention to your canaries and what part of your journey is struggling. So I'm getting back. I feel like I'm sobering up a little bit to it and getting back to my old habits. But there's no I do not want to go back to the me of 300 pounds who was eating everything and sitting and being depressed and a victim.
No, and I don't either.
He doesn't want me to do that either.
Well, I don't want you to do it. I don't want me to do it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But, I think Donald has a lot of great things to bring up today about being on track and not quitting before the getting gets good.
Yeah, I think that we are wired as human beings to want things to happen quickly. We want results quickly. We start a new program, we're like, okay, I'm going to go on a 10-minute walk every day, and I'm going to cut back 200 calories a day. I've been doing it for 3 whole days. Why have I not lost all the weight already?
This is not fair.
Yeah, this is not fair.
Well, and two, to take me back to second grade, a traveling salesman came to our door saying that I could take accordion lessons and I could be an accordion leader and get trophies and go to Kansas and be in the accordion championships.
As accordion champions do.
Yes, as they do. If you're Weird Al, let us know about the championships.
Let us know about accordion championships.
But I took classes for a week. I begged because I wanted to play the accordion. You couldn't even use the bellows. Bellows was year 7. I was like, if I'm not bellowing, I don't want to do this. And I gave up because I wasn't suddenly in my own Oom-Papa band. So I gave up. And I did a lot of that in my childhood, just giving up when I wasn't automatically good at something.
Yeah.
And when it didn't come easily to me, I just saw someone who, was a professional at something. And I didn't see the gap between the effort and the action. I just wanted the trophy at the end, and I didn't want to do the work. And I did not do the work for 40 plus years.
Yeah. And one of the I've talked about it before, mindset is a huge factor in losing weight. And I'm telling you that I used to think about just going on a temporary diet, and I didn't think about what was going to happen when I lost the weight, when the diet was over. I went on a starvation diet or a shake meal shake or keto or Atkins or, whatever. And I just thought, okay, once I lose the weight, then I'll be able to do what I want and eat what I want. And I didn't think about the long term.
Well, and it was about the getting it off.
Yeah, I just wanted it over. I wanted it done.
Well, and I didn't think of myself as a healthy person. I just wanted to lose weight. And I think in the James Clear book, Atomic Habits, he talks about becoming the kind of person you want to be. And that can be really hard for someone who has been sedentary their whole life, who is maybe a little bit agoraphobic because they've always been overweight and they don't want to go to the beach. And when I say they, I mean me. 3 years ago, not going to beaches. But I was not confident, and I didn't see myself as a person who was trying to be healthier until I did, and just decided that I had to identify as someone who was active. I had to identify as someone who walked her daughter to school, who tracked her calories, and who put her health above her impulsive eating and drinking choices.
And I'm telling you, I heard the phrase, there is no finish line. And it seriously was like a lightning bolt hit me. It was like the heavens opened up and the light shone down. It shone. And
it shined.
It shined. It did both. And I am telling you, it was like suddenly it all became clear. Like I wasn't on a temporary plan. I wasn't doing something to get quick results. I needed to come up with something that I was going to be able to do for the rest of my life. And on the one hand, that was very overwhelming. But on the other hand, it was like, hey, I've got the rest of my life to do this.
When did you actually think that? Like This is live radio here, people. Like, when did that actually happen for you? Because at first you were not happy about losing weight.
I think we were on one of our very first morning walks that we did, and I think you were telling me about something that you heard on Half Size Me, and it hit me, like, at that moment.
Aw, that makes me happy.
Yeah. And so I have a series of analogies.
He has met tuck-in people.
Yeah, I got some of these from the aforementioned James Clear Atomic Habits book and others from other places. And, one of them... Gretchen Rubin. One of them is that there is, imagine that your weight loss goal is an ice cube.
This one's a good one. Get ready. Go get an ice cube, everybody.
Yeah, the ice cube stays frozen until it hits 33 degrees. It freezes at 32 degrees. And, for those of you who are in the Celsius world, 0 degrees, but I'm not doing that. The 32 degrees Fahrenheit, let's say you're starting out, you're at 20 degrees.
You're in a room, and it's very cold, and you're with an ice cube.
And your weight loss goal is 33 degrees, but you have to build up to that. You have to slowly raise that temperature. And it's all about building those habits, and you're adding a small habit and adding a small habit on top of that. And for a long time, it feels like nothing is happening.
So it's 21 degrees, and you're like, the ice, hasn't melted yet. This is not fair. And you're like, give it time.
Yeah, and then you're at 25 degrees. You're at 28 degrees.
And you're still mad because nothing is happening.
And you're getting really discouraged and frustrated.
I've been tracking calories for 4 weeks and I haven't lost any weight. I've been walking, for 10 days and I'm still overweight.
Exactly. But if you do it long enough, you eventually tip the scales, tip the temperature scales, and you hit that 33 degrees and stuff starts to melt. And then when you get to 33, it's a lot easier to get to 34, 35, 36, and that ice cube eventually turns into water.
It does. And there was another analogy that I had seen a number of years ago was a cartoon picture of someone digging underground, and it's a side view. Someone is digging, and there's a shaft of gold. At the next chip, if they just had dug one more foot, they would have hit the gold. But they give up because they can't see the gold, and so they just turn around and they stop. So you never know how far you have to go. Now, I'm not one to dig in mines for gold, but I have seen an ice cube melt before, so that's more on my level. But that idea of you put in effort and effort and effort, and it seems like nothing is happening and that it doesn't matter, and then suddenly it does. And we often give up before we hit that point, point of change.
We want the quick payoff. There was, when I was in first or second grade, I had a teacher ask us, if somebody could either give you $1 million right now, or I'll give you a penny right now, but every day for 30 days, I will double the amount that I give you. So today I give you 1 penny. Tomorrow I give you 2 pennies. The next day after that, you'll end up with 4 pennies, and so on. What would you take? And of course, now in hindsight, it's pretty obvious that it's a trick question, but back then it wasn't so obvious. And so, the idea of getting that $1 million up front, we've talked about before, like these one weird tricks, these diets that help you drop the weight instantly. Like, we want that instant gratification. We want that $1 million. But if you put in the effort, if you take that penny and you double it and you double it and you double it, and eventually, like, even at, let's say, day 17, you're only at $655 at that point.
That's so boring. Why even bother?
I am more than halfway through this. I've only made $655. What have I done? I could have had that $1 million right now. I could have just taken it and walked away. And then you're at day 21. So you're 2/3 of the way through, and you're only at that point, $10,000. And you're like, I am putting in all this work for all these weeks for $10,000, and I could have just taken the $1 million. Even at day 26, you're only at $335,000.
The suspense is killing me.
And you're not even, you've only got 4 days left. And you're like, I blew it. Clearly, I blew it. I'm only at $335,000. But then all the magic happens in those last few days. $671,000. Then $1.3 million, $2.6 million, $5.3 million. And at the very end, you're reaping in over 5 times as much as you were because you were patient and you put in the work and you hung in there, and eventually it all came off.
And Donald was a second grader with $1 million. He blew through it quickly. He's got nothing to show for it.
I spent it on Hot Wheels cars and a fire truck.
A real fire truck?
Sure.
Where's the truck? Produce the truck.
Yeah, I know. I blew it.
But that, I
lost it gambling.
Again, whether it's an ice cube or a fictional doubling of dollars every day, that patience is something that I think our society, I'll say it, is lacking. We can go on Amazon and buy anything we want at any time. We can go to Postmates, don't do it, and get any manner of food delivered immediately. We can go online. We were on a walk this morning and we wanted to know what a word meant. And Donald just spoke to the air basically and found out what the word was.
I did.
And so
I spoke to Google actually, but still.
not to the air.
Yeah.
But we get what we want immediately. If we have a question, if we want to buy something, it's right at our fingertips. But investing in ourselves, it doesn't look like anything is happening. Like when I know I've talked about it, when I was 250 pounds, I just wanted to fit into my jeans. And I did that. And I said, okay, well, maybe do a little bit more. What about another 5 pounds? Achieve that goal. What about another 5 pounds? I never thought about the full 100 pounds I wanted to lose. And having small goals, small metrics, day after day of consistent habits, another penny, it paid off. And I never expected that it would. You've got another analogy about pennies or sand.
I do. I've got a couple of more, actually.
Tuck in, people.
Yeah. So
take the long way home.
So imagine your weight loss goal is one of those old-fashioned scales that balances, one of those balancing scales that you see like blind Lady Justice is holding the scales.
Sounds like he made her sound like a blues singer.
Blind Lady Justice. Yeah, I saw Blind Lady Justice at the Troubadour recently.
Is blind.
Yeah, but the statue, the famous statue.
I just imagine her a howling dog Justice.
Yeah,
anyway.
Exactly. So she's holding those old-fashioned sort of scales, and there's a heavy weight on one end, and maybe that weight represents the weight that you want to lose. Huh? It's just occurring to me now as I'm saying that. And you start with a simple habit, your 5-minute walk, your prepping one meal a week, your cutting back 50 calories on a day, you're skipping one dessert, and think of that as putting a grain of sand on those scales, and you're adding a grain of sand and a grain of sand, and for a really long time that weight doesn't move, it doesn't do anything, but you keep adding that grain of sand. If you keep at it one grain of sand at a time, eventually you're going to add that one more, and that weight is going to shift and it is going to move quick. And then you keep adding more and more, and eventually the side with the grains of sand on it is going to outweigh that original weight, and it all comes over to your side. And that's what I'm talking about, is hanging in there and being patient and waiting for the change to really kick in.
Well, and a friend who shall remain nameless posted the other day, hello, nameless friend, you know who you are, posted that she was concerned that the scale wasn't moving. She had been on track pretty much the entire month. She was at her designated calorie deficit and nothing was happening. And it didn't seem fair, and she wanted to change her plan. And in the James Clear book, speaking of habits over time, he calls it the Valley of Disappointment.
Yeah.
Which is maybe also the valley in which we live. We live in a valley of disappointment. But that point,
or the San Fernando Valley.
You think your trajectory is this perfect ski slope up, where it's a straight line at a 45-degree angle, and it is taking you to victory.
Yeah.
But it actually dips. And it doesn't seem like anything is happening. That's the Valley of Disappointment. And then suddenly it goes, "Pew!" and then it shoots up. And we quit an action and we switch plans and we look for that one weird trick and the new thing that we need to try out. And maybe I'll switch to keto. I'm not saying that she did this, but we flit from plan to plan because it seems like nothing is happening. But we don't give anything enough time to develop. Like we're planting a seed and it's not an apple tree immediately, so we quit.
Yeah, it took me 2 years to lose my 100 pounds. And that may not, you might not even lose 100 pounds that fast. It may be even slower, but guess what? You've got the rest of your life to do it. But while I was doing it, there were times where nothing would happen for weeks at a time. And I would get on that
really
scale,
mad.
and I would feel disappointed and discouraged, but I did not stop. I kept going. And, if I hit a plateau for a long time, maybe I would drop my calorie count even a little more. I started by, I believe I just dropped my calories to like 3,500 from what I was doing. And then I just dropped them a couple hundred more and a couple hundred more. And eventually I got down to 2,000 calories a day, which is still not anywhere near a starvation diet. And I eventually was able to get all the weight off, but it took time and patience, and it took me sticking to it for that whole time. And I'm still sticking to it. I still eat about 2,000 calories a day now to maintain my weight.
Well, and I remember too, and this has happened to me, and we have the Wait, Don't Tell Me episode.
Yes.
Which is about getting your head on straight with weighing yourself. And there are times when we follow our plan to the T. We eat at our deficit, we work out, we walk, whatever. We feel like we're hitting every single goal. And then we get on the scale. And worse than being the same weight, we're up on the scale. That still happens to us.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know it still makes us angry.
Yes, for sure.
It seems very unfair. But it's like, give it another week. Just give it another week and keep going. And then it ends up evening out. And then it goes down and then it goes up. But even when I was losing, I gained 20 pounds 20 times in losing 100 pounds. So everything is the Colorado Rockies.
And what's the alternative? Like give up and gain more weight? I mean,
that's what I would do. I would revenge gain 20 pounds because the scale wasn't going my way. Or when I was doing Weight Watchers, we would have an indulgent meal. I would go over my points for the week and then just quit until the new year.
But how did that work out for
not
you?
Bueno.
No,
not good.
No, and I mean, you and I were like sunk into further depression and got even more sedentary and gained even more weight, and we were even farther behind than when we started, and that didn't get us anywhere.
It was still a struggle. I mean, and I don't want to depress anyone either, because I know the habits that I put in place that lead me and point me in the right direction. And I feel like I'm actually back on that right direction. I feel energized. I know what I need to do. It's simple. Like I don't know if I told you this or not, but I was up at my highest weight in 2 years on Friday. It was also my time of the month. Time of the month to me, not to Donald.
To you.
Someone called it Shark Week the other day, which I thought was really funny.
That is really funny.
But I got on the scale and I was the highest I had been in 2 years, and I was despondent. And I started going through my old excuses of, I should check my blood work and see how it is. I actually went and had blood work the other day.
Yeah.
And my thyroid levels were actually a little bit low. Like I'm actually telling Donald this. He didn't know this. Yeah. But it's supposed to be like 0.75 to whatever is a healthy range. And mine was at 0.7. And I was like, it was red. It was like, ooh, warning, low. And I started doing research like on WebMD or whatever. And it was like, you could die from this, or, if it's under this amount. And I was like, that's it. It's my thyroid. That's why I'm gaining weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it was the secret eating McDonald's on the way to Palm Springs the other day that I did.
Yeah.
And the real answer is that I've been overeating. Like, it's not my thyroid.
Yeah.
I'm going to check with my doctor because my thyroid levels are a little bit low. But like looking for that, like, oh, it's outside of my control. It's like, no, you're secret eating Starbucks and Snickers bars and McDonald's. Like,
yeah,
that's the old Catherine coming back.
And I too put on some weight and was up a little more than I hit my like scream weight, but it was a wake up call for me, and I've lost like 5 pounds since then, and I'm feeling pretty
you were
pretty
doing
on
a
it.
Great job.
But yeah, I also I don't know, vacations and end of the year and all that also got to me, and it's a long lifetime journey.
Yeah, so I feel better about it. Sort of actually making a real excuse that it was my thyroid when, if the thought bubble is in my head of me eating food, secret, I'm like, what's the answer? Oh, it's pretty simple. I am eating too much and I am paying the price for that. So I'm dialing it back. Been on track for a couple days. And there's also our tip/product of the week is something that has actually helped me get on track. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think Donald has more to say.
I have 2 more analogies.
Two more analogies.
2 more. Like you can't even stop the analogies from coming. The one
Dropping
coin
it like
analogy.
Aesop. Ooh.
So nobody would say that 1 coin would make you rich, but if you take 1 coin and then another coin and you add another coin to that, eventually at a certain point, you're going to end up with enough coins that everybody is going to agree that you're rich. And this is another example of be patient, collect those coins, and eventually you will be rich in weight loss.
You will. And it's that thing of, one effort doesn't matter. And even I think James Clear says it too. It's like going to the gym 2 times isn't going to change your life. Not being there for your family one evening if you have to work late, your family will forgive you for not being present. It's what you do consistently over time that matters. If you're always away from home, if you conversely are always at the gym, those small efforts will add up. And we started with, like I said, walking our daughter to school forward and back. Like, we didn't join a gym. We didn't do a ton of cardio. And we made it happen.
And the beginning...
Coin by coin.
By coin by coin. The beginning, getting started, is oftentimes the hardest part. It's where you have to put in your most focus and put in the most energy. And my last analogy...
I was going to say, this ties into an analogy effort.
The final analogy is, it's like a rocket ship taking off. Like, a rocket taking off consumes like 80% of its fuel just getting off the ground. But eventually, it gets to a certain altitude, a certain point where it flies smoothly with minimal consumption. This is the idea of building up your habits and building one habit upon another until it just becomes second nature and you're doing these things out of habit. I mean, that's what they are. And eventually you can fly smoothly without having to put in nearly as much effort as you did at the beginning.
We'll call that the space race analogy.
The space race
I don't know.
analogy.
It doesn't have anything to do with the space race. But yeah.
But space race sounds good.
But do you have any, in our listening audience, do you have any analogies for your weight loss? Because I think analogies, depending on which one you hear, like I told you, like we heard the digging for gold analogy. Like, when I read in the James Clear book about the ice cube not melting before 33 degrees, it really hit me.
It was like the mic drop in your brain.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like anything is happening for such a long time. And if you are listening right now, whatever stage in your journey that you're in, you are worth it. You are worth the effort. You are worth putting yourself as a priority in your life, and you are worth carving out a few minutes a day to practice self-care, to treat yourself better, to eat more mindfully, to move in ways that are beneficial to you, that meet your current lifestyle. We're not asking you to train for the Olympics.
Yeah, build those habits. Make it something sustainable. Make it something that you can do for the rest of your life. Not things that you hate, but build one tiny habit on another. Take one foot and put it in front of the other, and eventually you're walking. And eventually you're going to achieve the goal that you're trying to get to.
And you're going to get out of the valley of disappointment, which it is like you.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels terrible to put in effort and not see any progress. But we give up too soon. We're saying, don't give up. We're not giving up on you. I'm not giving up on me. Like, what if today I was like, yep, I'm done. Like,
yep, that's
I
it.
am super excited. We are knee deep in cheesecake, and we've got every 20 minutes.
The final episode of We Only Look Thin because we won't look thin much longer.
We've decided we don't want to be thin anymore. We can't do that. Like, we're internet tastemakers.
We certainly are.
So, speaking of tastes, do you have any more analogies?
I'm good. That was it. If that wasn't enough analogies for people.
We've been
I don't know
so
what would
patient,
be. Yeah.
so patient with so many analogies. Thanks for putting all that together.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's what I do.
Yeah. So, so now are we going on to the combo
Tau Pow?
Tau Pow?
I think so.
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
Product of the week to you.
Pow.
Pow.
Wow.
I know. Wow, pow, tau.
Wow, pow.
So this product of the week and tip of the week is something that I actually put together by myself.
Yeah.
I didn't find this anywhere but
She
with me.
Didn't take it from anywhere.
So
Except her brain.
So I have been so the tip and the product of the week is carrot on a stick. Ask me what.
What's a carrot on a stick?
Well, it's like a hot dog on a stick.
Like at the mall?
Yeah. I actually don't think I've ever had a hot dog on a stick.
I don't know. I've had the lemonade, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, if you've had lemonade.
If you've had hot dog on a stick,
God, we're
let
ridiculous.
us know about it. We only look thin at
Caller
gmail.com.
one. We're taking calls live on the air. So oh my God, we're so ridiculous. Our tip and product of the week is to set yourself a small habit goal and then to reward yourself.
So it's like carrot and stick, but there's no actual stick. It's just carrot on a stick.
Okay, so here I will walk you through the steps. I created a PDF printable. The kids love the printables these days. You can
kids
print it
love
out.
the printables.
If you would like a copy of the PDF printable of the habit circle that I made, send us an email at
Why don't you tell people what that habit circle is?
I'm going to, but email us at weonlylookthin@gmail.com. But I created a PDF of closing the habit circle, and it is 7 circles, 7 days. You set a habit for yourself. What are you struggling with? I personally was struggling with hitting my calorie deficit. But let's say you're having trouble going to bed on time. You're staying up too late.
Yeah.
What if you're not drinking enough water? You're not eating at a deficit. You're taking too many BLTs, bites, licks, and tastes.
Not getting enough steps.
Yeah. So you set a habit goal. And you then try to achieve that habit 7 times. That's what I set for myself. 7's a good number.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 7th check off or stamp or sticker or whatever you give to yourself, you give yourself a prize.
Yeah.
We love prizes. That's the carrot.
What prize did you give yourself?
I actually, after 7 times of hitting my calorie deficit, I bought myself a new MAC lipstick.
Yeah.
And it was not, I didn't make it a consecutive 7 days because I think that can be like having to start over every time.
Overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming. So I set it as 7 days of hitting my 1,800 calorie deficit. I finally hit it. It took 2 weeks, not gonna lie, but I bought myself a MAC lipstick. So the important part, I think, is actually having the reward in mind, because we did it in our accountability group and a couple of people were like, I did it. What was your reward? I don't remember. Like, if you are driven by wanting something, whether it's like a lipstick or upgrading your car wash the next time you get a car wash. My next one that I'm doing, I want to buy the Gretchen Rubin book. I don't buy a ton of books. I usually go to the library, but I want to buy the new Gretchen Rubin book. So the next...
Yeah, or maybe your thing is like you want to get a massage or take a half a day off from work or something. Yeah, it doesn't have to be something that, costs you money necessarily. Maybe you're just going to give yourself an afternoon of me time.
Yeah, and not doing any chores or something like that. So there are lots of ways that you can treat yourself well and not spend money, or just spend like a new lotion, something smart, or like a magazine at the grocery store. So if you would like a copy of the Habit Close the Circle PDF printable, email us at weonlylookthin@gmail.com. And it really made me feel good. Like when I associate the lipstick actually with the success of it. And I got the lipstick yesterday. It's very exciting.
And if you want to see a photo of Catherine's achievement, it's on our Instagram page, right? At We Only Look Thin.
I'll put it on there.
Oh, I thought it was on there.
No.
All right.
But I'll do it. Just for you. But it's a great little motivator. We all need ways to kind of spice up the adventure. So much of it is the mental work, as Donald said. Tracking your calories is one thing. Changing the way you think about your self-worth and your value and the kind of person that you are, a fit, active person who takes their health seriously. There's always the kind of fun, silly tips of the week, and then the serious hard work of actually practicing self-care and changing your mindset that this is a permanent lifestyle that you are changing for yourself. It is so critical that we practice self-care for ourselves, for our friends, for our family, being able to lift yourself up off the couch to, we joke about, I've fallen and I can't get up. Ha 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 ha. Guess what?
Yeah.
Like, we're older now and we see that in our future.
Yeah.
We don't want it. So please take care of yourself, whatever that means to you, however active you can be, whatever time you can carve out of your busy life, caring for other people. Care for yourself too. You matter.
That was really well said.
Thanks.
One way to care for yourself and to prove that you matter is to listen to this podcast.
They did it. You did it.
Yeah, you got
Listen
all the way
to
through.
7 episodes of the podcast and then buy yourself
Yeah, that sounds like a great
frisbee.
idea. A frisbee. That is my...
Do you know? Sorry, you want a frisbee?
Yes, I want a frisbee.
At my company, they had years of service rewards of like you get one for 1 year, 5, 10, whatever. And for 50 years of service, it was like a mountain bike. Much like the high ticket items of like
a pogo stick.
Like if you do the math, not that I'm saying that people in their 60s or 70s don't want one, but it was just didn't really seem like a reward that a 7-year-old person would want. So
if you want to give us a reward for many years of service, do us a favor. Go to iTunes and rate and review the show. 5 stars would be great. Just a quick little review would be fantastic.
We have gotten, I thought you were going to say, rate the beep out of us.
Whoa.
I was shocked, but we didn't have to. He kept it classy, just like we like to keep it. But yeah, rate and review us. We have gotten so many amazing and humbling reviews.
We're really appreciative of all of them.
And it really keeps me going. Like, knowing that I am passively getting compliments from people saying like, wow, I didn't think I could do it. And you're normal folk just like me. We get feedback, and knowing that we matter in your journey and your experience and your adventure or whatever, like it really keeps me going. Like I am doing this for myself. When we started this podcast, we wanted to help keep ourselves accountable, and that is what we are doing. And every time we touch someone's life and experience and find out that you're listening to this episode and getting in more steps, like it means the world to us.
Yeah, it really does.
That 2 kids from the Valley of Disappointment
That's right.
can make a change in ourselves and in our listening audience. It like honestly means the world to us. So thank you for any rating and reviewing. You can follow us on
Instagram
and Twitter
at We Only Look Thin on both of them. We have a Facebook page. You can find us at We Only Look Thin.
Yeah. So thank you so much for
And as
listening.
we've said before, you can email us, weonlylookthin@gmail.com. And we have a website, weonlylookthin.com.
There's a theme.
Yes, there is. So the next time you go and buy a bus ticket and it's a one-way trip to the Valley of Disappointment, just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.